welcome to part 2. If you made it this far, you're having fun with me. So yay, like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Special thanks to Up and Adam and, of course, Jason for doing this interview, which I would imagine was challenging. So I appreciate them doing it so I could comment on it. Now let's get into part 2 of Katherina's Nahlik, Mazepa, mistress, fiance of Dr. Lenny's interview that they did. I have so much shade I still want to bring. As mentioned in my previous video, this video is biased because I experienced a very similar trauma that Lisa Hochstein experienced with Katherina and Dr. Lenny, so I can't help but be opinionated on this one.
Certain TV shows created this like super villain, a super evil person, and it's just not me. I mean, she sounds like a wild time. I would go out with her and have some drinks, but it is not me. And I know my truth. I know who I am. I know who I not am. And
I mean, she said it. We didn't. Super villains, I guess, have extraordinary powers that are used toward nefarious ends. I suppose if being a hot girl in her mid or late 20s is a superpower, which I'd say it is in Miami, and you take a man away from his family in a, inappropriate way, and the man also participates, so he's kind of also like the sidekick to the supervillain, it could apply here.
In the end of the day, I'm just very secure in that, so these things don't touch me that much.
I mean, okay, I think that's a great way to look at it. But as someone who, and this isn't about me, but being on YouTube and knowing that it took me a minute to really digest a lot of the comments and learn how to compartmentalize where I was going, this had to have been a process for you.
Absolutely.
No?
Yeah. To be completely honest with you, in the beginning, these things bothered me much more. I mean, nobody likes to be wrongfully accused of something they didn't do. And I mean, the extent of it has been pretty wild. I mean, the things people come up with, that even to an extent of death threats, it's really horrible, dark things. But I firmly believe that you can only fight darkness with light and positivity and love. And it took me a lot to just get into a place where I can, as you said, compartmentalize.
Well, let's hope in the universe you're describing there isn't karma too, Katherina, because unfortunately love may not overcome the karma that's coming your way, sweetie. Am I karma?
And to be honest, one of my most powerful tools has been meditation. I meditate every day. I also pray every day. And another thing which I already said, but I would like to repeat, it's so important what you focus on. Like, if you just read these horrible comments, like, it's easy to like get wrapped up and be in this like downward spiral. But if you choose to just keep busy and focus on your life and just surround yourself with people who know you and who know who you are and who know your truth and stay busy with work, then
yeah, be careful being Katherina's friends. I think she was actually invited to the previous 2 Halloween parties that Lisa Hochstein was hosting with her husband. So she was at one point a friend, just by definition in that way, of Lisa Hochstein. Didn't work out too well for Lisa with Katherina. So I'd say my friends in Miami that I see liking Katherina's picture better be careful with their men.
you're going to be fine in the end of the day.
I think that you just gave me a powerful tool, because I feel like as somebody who's been in a relationship with my husband for 10 years, I need to freaking meditate. So
I think you're in a medit.
Yeah, I'll have to meditate. But,
Sorry, Chase.
I think also you mentioned something with the death threats, and these are obviously not people who are walking up to you in your day-to-day, but these are people who are attacking you on social media. And a lot of the backlash that I've seen, because I did a big deep dive into you before coming here, it's like doing my homework. This is my homework. I love it. You've been accused of cyberbullying, which is the same thing that you're saying that you're a victim of. I mean,
I just have to stop you here really quick. I never said I was a victim. I believe I'm nobody's victim. And I think even though dark things happen to me, I firmly believe that everything in life, the good and the bad, happens for me and not to me.
Right. I love that. It's important to explain yourself, and sometimes it's like, who do we owe anything to? Yeah. But explaining your position and saying, I'm not a martyr, I'm not a victim. So you're not a victim of some of these attacks. You are you, Katherina, and you have received death threats.
Yes.
So now from there, I'm going to move on and say, you've also been accused of cyberbullying on social media. We've heard about you posting photos in this Rolls Royce that, belonged to Lenny's ex-wife, Lisa. We saw your post about whoever said that money can't buy happiness has never paid for a divorce. And I just want to give you the opportunity here
to not sound like such a hypocritical asshole, Katherina, is what I think Adam really wanted to say, but he had to smile and just be supportive. You do that in interviews.
to let us know, is that what you're doing? Or are you talking about your own divorce? Like, where are you at?
Thank you very much for this question. There's nothing I would love more than to contextualize these things. So let's unpack them one after the other. As for the car, I was booked for a modeling shoot for laundry campaign. And the client asked if we can take pictures in the car. And my fiancé has a few cars, and he lets me drive one of them, use them as a prop for a shoot. It was never brought to my awareness that this car belonged to anybody other than my fiancé. Once these claims were being voiced, I asked him about it, and he said, it's not true. He even showed me the title of the car, so I don't really understand.
Showed you the title?
Yeah.
Wow. You went straight to
but
it.
It's always, it's always been his car, always been in his name, and nothing really else, so.
Katherina, I don't think what we were thinking was that the legal status of the car was at question here, because Lord knows Dr. Lenny put everything in his name and keeps it in his name, because that way he has power and control over whoever drives or uses his things. And then he gives them a sense, much like you, that you're getting to keep these things, but they're not really your things. They're his things. And so in a weird way, you just called out a way a narcissist works with their women. And it sounds like that's going to be happening to you. So you have something to look forward to. So next time you're like, wow, where did my car that I've driven every single day go? And a woman goes, well, you're not on the title, so it's not really your car. So screw you when I'm driving it. You see if you feel better about it because your name wasn't on the title. Let's see if that gives you comfort at night.
I would never maliciously make digs at somebody else, especially if something is trivial like a car.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. But then what about the divorce comment? Was that pertaining to Lenny and Lisa, or was that pertaining to your own divorce?
So I do understand that people all the time can take anything you do or say and take it out of context and interpret it in whatever way they please. However, my own journey, and I think it's just important for people to realize that many times people in the media, things in the media are being taken out of context and being trivialized. And in this instance, I was solely talking about my own divorce. I separated from my former husband in September 2021, and it's been a long. Wasn't the easiest marriage, to say the least. It was an even more tumultuous separation. And I separated from him in September 2021.
Wait for the throw-in of the immigration mention. Just wait.
And it took me a year and a half to finally leave this chapter behind me and for my divorce to actually be finalized. So when that happened, I was filled with a lot of joy, a lot of relief. It was for me the day where I reclaimed a big part of my identity. I reclaimed my freedom, and most importantly, I reclaimed my maiden name, Nahlik. And to kind of give context to this situation, what's going on in my life, and that my divorce is finalized, of course, I couldn't wait to switch my Instagram handle back to like to Katherina Nahlik, my maiden name, and to just kind of offer an explanation to my followers. I made a comment saying, whoever said money cannot buy happiness never paid for divorce, and I stand behind that.
Because that's how you reclaim your identity, everyone. Make sure you change your name on your Instagram and let your followers know. It's really important. You might lose yourself if you don't.
And yeah, I'm just very, very happy to leave that part of my life behind me. And it was something to celebrate. I'm celebrating a new start.
So it had everything to do with you.
Absolutely.
All right. You know, I'm going to circle back to the Rolls Royce in a few minutes because I have heard about the listening device. And I'm going to circle back to your ex and your past. But I think, want to go into a happy space for you.
I mean, look, we are in a very happy space.
I mean, listen, looking around, yes, I get that.
No, Katherina, Adam was talking about your happy space on the inside, honey, not your materialistic items you just acquired by dating an old man.
So much beauty around us.
There's a lot to be grateful for in this moment. So before we dive into the Rolls Royce, and I've heard rumblings about listening devices, there's been a lot, and I have a lot to ask you. Really, I mean, a lot. I want to kind of go to a happy place for you and ask you to paint the picture for us as the viewers, as the audience. How did you actually meet Lenny? Because a lot of people have speculated that it was at this Halloween party. A lot of people, everybody's painting your story.
Kind of like this photo depicts from 2022's Halloween party.
Yeah. I'm more than happy to answer any questions and shed more light onto any timeline that you would like to know about, because there really isn't anything to hide.
Right.
So I moved to the United States right before the pandemic. I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time. However, since it's not the hot spot for modeling, if you will, I split my time a lot between Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, Washington, D.C. and Miami, New York, just wherever the agencies were calling me to. So at the time, I spent a few weeks or months in Miami. So right before the pandemic happened, I just met Lenny out with friends. We were traveling in the same social circles.
Translation, same social circles as his wife, Lisa Hochstein, too.
And loosely stayed in touch on social media as acquaintances. And yeah, that's about it.
Loosely stayed in touch on social media. I can't.
There were also a lot of rumors that when you met Lenny, you were still in your marriage.
Yeah, I was. I met him in 2020, and we were in the same, just near each other socially, and then separated from my former husband in September 2021 in Washington, D.C. I think a lot of the confusion comes in because I was not able to file for divorce right away because of the state laws. In Washington, D.C., the state law says you have to live for, I believe it's 6 months in separate households before you can file for divorce officially. So I started to live in a different household than him on my own in September 2021, October 2021. And then initiated my divorce proceedings right away, given that I contacted my divorce attorney, and all the communication from that point was only through my attorneys with him. And after like almost half a year, when I could have filed for divorce in DC, I didn't, because I decided to just turn a new leaf and move to Miami by myself. And in Florida, there's no such law that you have a waiting period. However, you have to be a resident of Florida for at least 6 months. So then like, okay, great, another waiting period.
Another hurdle.
Then I finally filed technically even after Lenny. And then it was like it was a mission to get this man served in the first place. Like they had to hire like a private investigator, attempted about 12 times to serve him, but he was hiding out, it seems like. And but then ultimately we found a way around it. But for me, it just took like over a year to like file my divorce, even though I haven't spoken to the man. I lived in a different apartment by myself. And I think this is just where a lot of the confusion comes in timeline-wise.
I don't think she answered the question after all that.
You know, you and I had a conversation, and I was trying to better understand you and everything that you've been through, because to be fair, I think that social media has a way of kind of throwing us off. Like, we don't post the things that are terrible on social media. We post the things that are amazing.
Yeah.
Our lives are fantastic. We're having cake, eating pasta. Look at the background.
All the pasta.
All of the pasta. And you shared a story with me just of how much, like, where you started and how much you've been through. And I believe I told you that I think it's important to share that story, whether it's today or somewhere down through your journey, because I think that there's other young girls or young boys or anyone who might look at you and think, wow, this woman is beautiful. She has it all. She has this big house. She has this amazing modeling career. She has, but it's like they don't know the journey to get here. And I think that leads me to my next question of asking you, can you let us know what went wrong in your last marriage?
With all due respect, all my communications with my ex have been through my lawyer, because I want to leave this chapter behind me once and for all. And what you're asking me is involving another person who isn't here to speak for himself. So I would prefer to just leave that in the past where it belongs.
Okay.
Oh, we're not letting this lady be a victim. Oh, no, we're not. And she's not actually saying anything. She's implying things, which is a tactic, which we know well on Housewives. Just don't say it. It's worse.
I mean, it seems like I'll take that.
Yeah, there's no... You're not gonna unhurt by putting, like...
More out there.
Yeah, more out there, and by trashing the other person or just like trying to ruin their life. So like,
okay, let's not talk about ruining lives, shall we?
Making their family suffer. Like, it's just not me. So I had my reasons to walk away, but I've done my talking in court, and I've done my talking with immigration and...
Ding, ding, ding. Did you hear it? Immigration. Huh. Now, how did immigration come into play here? Is it possible that your ex-husband somehow gave you immigration in his job in Washington, D.C., and then they maybe called in to question it because they thought maybe you used him for that and that's not appropriate, and then they tested her and they said, okay, it's not true. She didn't use him for immigration. Could that be it? I don't know. I'm speculating. What do you guys think?
I won.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to leave this in the past where it belongs.
You're closing the book and you're putting it back on the shelf.
That's me speechless. See you in part 3 if you can stomach it with me. Come on, it's fun.